the shadow at the threshold. In the dim glow of a single desk lamp, Alexander Harrington clutched the edge of his mahogany desk, his knuckles whitening like bleached bones against the polished wood. The mansion's silence was a living thing, pressing in on him, thick with the scent of aged whiskey and unspoken regrets. His reflection in the rain-streaked window stared back, a man of 52, silver threading his temples, eyes hollowed by a marriage that had long ago curdled into something poisonous. Evelyn's words from dinner echoed like a venomous refrain. Asterisk, you're going out? At this hour? Fine, go then. See if I care. Asterisk, but it wasn't indifference. It was a blade, sharpened by years of her growing resentment toward his endless boardrooms and her endless loneliness. He straightened his coat, the fabric heavy as chains, and reached for the door handle. Freedom, or escape, lay just beyond, in the storm-lashed night. That's when she appeared, a shadow uncoiling from the hallway's gloom. Alara, the young black woman who'd come to their home 6 months ago as a live-in aide for their daughter, Lily. Her dark curls were disheveled, her nurse's scrubs rumpled from a sleepless shift, but her eyes, those fierce, mahogany pools, burned with a terror that stopped him cold. Mr. Harrington, Alexander, please, she gasped, her voice a raw whisper laced with an accent that hinted at sun-baked Carolina roots. She grabbed his sleeve, her small hand trembling against the wool. Don't go outside. Your wife, Evelyn, she's planning something terrible. I heard her on the phone. Make sure it's quick. No traces. Please, God, don't go. The words landed like a gut punch, stealing his breath. Betrayal? From Evelyn, the woman he'd built empires for, the mother of his child? No. It was paranoia, a trick of the storm's howl. But Alara's grip tightened, her tears carving silent paths down her cheeks, and in that fractured moment, Alexander's world cracked open. He wrenched free, storming into the night, the door slamming like a final heartbeat. Little did he know, what unfolded next would shatter him utterly, and stitch him back, thread by aching thread. The rain lashed Alexander's face like accusatory fingers as he stumbled down the marble steps of the Harrington estate, the grand pillars looming like indifferent sentinels. Alara's plea clawed at the edges of his mind, something terrible, but he shoved it down, deep into the chasm where he'd buried 1,000 marital fissures. She's mistaken, he told himself, the denial a warm blanket against the chill. Asterisk, Evelyn's dramatic, always has been. A lover's quarrel, that's all. We've danced this tango before. Asterisk, his loafers splashed through puddles, the wrought iron gates creaking open at his approach. The driveway curved like a serpent toward the main road, flanked by ancient oaks that whispered secrets in the gale. He didn't see the glint of headlights slicing through the downpour until it was too late. A black SUV barreled from the shadows, its engine a guttural roar, aimed straight for him like divine retribution. Time fractured. The screech of tires, the blinding flash of high beams, his body twisting in futile instinct. Impact. A thunderclap of metal and bone. He hit the gravel hard, pain exploding in his ribs, his vision blurring to crimson streaks. Voices pierced the haze. Alara's scream, raw and primal, as she burst from the house, flinging herself between him and the retreating taillights. Alexander. Oh God, no. Her hands pressed against his chest, staunching the blood that bloomed through his shirt, her body a fragile shield against the night. Denial surged first, a tidal wave crashing over the agony. Accident, he thought, gasping as paramedics swarmed, their lights painting the scene in staccato blue. Asterisk, wrong place, wrong time. Evelyn would never. Asterisk, but the fragments pieced themselves cruelly. The phone call Alara had overheard, Evelyn's icy farewell, the SUV's deliberate swerve. In the ambulance's sterile wail, Alexander's mind replayed their 20 years. Vows exchanged under chandeliers, Lily's first cry echoing in these very halls. Evelyn's laughter fading into silences filled with her whispered affairs and his workaholic absolution. It's not betrayal, he bargained inwardly, teeth gritted against the morphine drip. Asterisk, it's my fault. I drifted. I failed her. Asterisk, pain clawed deeper, not just the fractured ribs or the gash across his temple, but the soul-deep laceration of trust eviscerated. Who was he, if not the provider, the pillar? The millionaire facade crumbled, leaving a boy adrift in a man's wreckage. At the hospital, the world narrowed to beeps and bandages. Lily arrived first, his 9-year-old daughter, her braids askew from hasty pajamas, clutching a stuffed elephant named Mr. Whiskers. "Daddy," she whimpered, climbing onto the bed's edge, her small hand dwarfed in his. "The bad car hurt you. Mommy said you were at a meeting." Her innocence was a dagger, twisting in the wound. Alexander forced a smile, denial's mask cracking. "Just a bump, peanut. Daddy's tough." But as she curled against him, her warmth seeping through the gown, the lie tasted like ash. Evelyn swept in later, all porcelain poise and feigned concern, her designer coat shedding rain like crocodile tears. "Darling, what a fright. The police said it was a drunk driver. Terrible luck." Her kiss on his forehead was perfunctory, her eyes darting to the door as if plotting escape. Alara hovered in the periphery, a quiet storm of vigilance. The doctors had praised her. Asterisk if she hadn't pulled you clear, sir, it could have been fatal. Asterisk, but she deflected, her gaze fixed on Alexander with a mix of relief and unresolved fear. That night, as Lily dozed in a vinyl chair and Evelyn excused herself for a call, Alara slipped into the room, carrying a thermos of chamomile tea. "You didn't listen," she said softly, not accusing, but her voice threaded with the weight of her own scars from a childhood in foster homes, from loving too fiercely only to be discarded. "I know what it feels like to ignore the signs. My mama begged me once about my no-good daddy. I thought love was blind. It's not. It's just scared." Her words pierced the denial's veil, ushering in the pain's full torrent. Alexander's chest heaved, sobs racking his battered frame. Why her? After everything. He wept for the empire he'd built on sand, for the love he'd mistaken for loyalty, for the man he'd become, isolated in wealth's gilded cage. Alara sat beside him, her hand on his arm, steady as an anchor. "Pain's the teacher we hate most," she murmured, sharing a story of her own betrayal. A fiancé who'd left her penniless, pregnant with dreams unhatched. "It burns, but it carves space for truth." In that dim room, amid the hum of monitors, Alexander felt the first fissures of acceptance, not of Evelyn's treachery, but of his own complicity in the decay. Lily stirred, mumbling in sleep, and Alara tucked the blanket around her, a mother's instinct in a stranger's grace. Small victory. In their shared vigil, pain became a bridge, not a barrier. Yet the night stretched long, denial's embers smoldering into exhaustion, as Alexander drifted into fitful dreams of shattered glass and unspoken pleas. Weeks blurred into a hesitant rhythm post-discharge, the mansion's opulence now a hollow echo chamber for Alexander's unraveling. The police investigation dragged, asterisk suspicious intent, possible tampering with brakes asterisk, but Evelyn's alibis held like silk threads, her lawyers a fortress of deniability. Divorce papers arrived by courier, crisp and clinical, severing 20 years with a signature's flourish. Reflections settled in like autumn fog, heavy and introspective, as Alexander wandered the estate's gardens, cane tapping against dew-kissed paths. Who am I without her? The question looped endlessly, a mantra of midlife reckoning. Mornings found him in the library, poring over old photo albums. Lily's christening, their Hawaiian honeymoon, each image a mirror to the illusions he'd clung to. Betrayal wasn't just Evelyn's plot, it was his neglect, the hours stolen from family for fleeting boardroom triumphs. Pain lingered, a dull throb in his side, but reflection demanded confrontation. Asterisk, I built walls, not bridges. Wealth bought silence, not connection. Asterisk. Alara became an unlikely compass in this fog. No longer just the aide, she lingered after shifts, brewing coffee in the sunlit kitchen, her presence a quiet rebellion against the house's chill. One crisp afternoon, as golden leaves pirouette from the maples, they sat on the veranda, Lily between them sketching fantastical beasts in her notebook. "Tell me about the girl who begged," Alexander ventured, his voice tentative, the cane propped like a surrendered flag. Alara's laugh was soft, bittersweet, a melody laced with old hurts. Alara James, born in a shotgun shack outside Charleston. Mama was a seamstress, daddy a ghost who came and went like bad weather. I learned early, trust ain't given, it's earned in the quiet moments. Her story unfolded slowly, paced like the veranda's swaying swing. Fleeing an abusive home at 16, scraping through nursing school on scholarships and sheer will, only to pour her heart into a man who saw her as a stepping stone. He took my savings, left me with a note. You're too much light for my shadows. Hurt like hellfire. But it taught me, light don't dim for nobody. Lily looked up, crayon paused mid-stroke. Auntie Alara, did you cry? The child's directness sliced through adult veneers, her wide eyes, mirrors of Alexander's own, demanding truth. Alara knelt, braiding a stray curl from Lily's forehead. Every night for months, sugar. But tears water the seeds of something stronger. In that exchange, warmth bloomed, a stranger's wisdom wrapping around Alexander's frayed edges. He watched them, father and daughter, aide turned confidant, and felt a spark, not the millionaire's command, but a man's vulnerability. Small victory, inviting Alara to stay for dinner, not as staff, but as family. Evelyn's absence loomed, but Lily's giggles filled the void, her sketches now adorning the fridge like badges of resilience. Strangers wove into this tapestry too, serendipitous threads in the healing weave. At a support group for betrayal survivors, reluctantly joined after Alara's gentle nudge, Alexander met Marcus, a weathered veteran with laugh lines etched deep. Over styrofoam coffee in a community center's fluorescent hum, Marcus shared his own fracture, a wife's affair that left him bankrupt in spirit. Reflection ain't pretty, son, he grunted, clapping Alexander's shoulder. It's like autopsy on your soul. But cut away the rot, and what's left? You. Stronger bones. The words resonated, echoing Alara's tales as Alexander drove home under star-pricked skies, internal dialogue shifting, asterisk not failure, a forge. The fire hurts, but it tempers, asterisk. Growth unfurled in quiet rebellions. He sold the SUV, traded boardroom suits for jeans, volunteered at Lily's school reading program, his baritone voice bringing Dr. Seuss to life for wide-eyed kids. One evening, as dusk painted the nursery in lavender hues, Lily crawled into his lap, Mr. Whiskers squished between them. Daddy, why'd mommy go? Her question hung, fragile as a spider's silk. Alexander paused, reflection yielding to honesty. Sometimes grown-ups lose their way, Peanut. But we find new paths. Together. Alara, tucking in storybooks nearby, met his gaze, a nod of shared understanding, her own growth mirrored in the way she now claimed space, no longer shrinking from her light. The transformative crest came on a rain-washed dawn, 6 months post-fracture. Alexander stood at the threshold again, not fleeing, but facing. Alara joined him, coffee mugs steaming in their hands. You listened this time, she teased gently. He nodded, the cane discarded weeks ago. To you. To me. In her eyes, he saw not pity, but kinship, the wounded recognizing the mended. Lily bounded out, dragging them toward the garden, her laughter a symphony of renewal. Betrayal's scar faded to silver, a testament, from denial's denial to pain's forge, reflection's mirror to growth's bloom. Alexander Harrington emerged not unscathed, but unbreakable, self-accepted in his flaws, at peace in the present, renewed in love's unscripted forms. In the quiet aftermath of storms, be they tempests of rain or the tempests of the heart, true renewal whispers not in grand gestures, but in the courage to listen, to linger in the ache, and to rise, hand in hand with those who see our light. Alexander's journey reminds us, healing is not erasure, but evolution. We are not defined by our wounds, but by the wisdom they birth. Embrace the shadows, for they carve the path to dawn's unyielding grace. Moral of the story. True inner strength blooms not from avoiding pain, but from walking through it with open eyes and open hearts, allowing betrayal's fire to refine us, and the kindness of unlikely allies to remind us that we are never truly alone in our healing.